One of the greatest challenges is to find a fitted potential and helping the potential rise up to succeed in that new level. In other words, helping that potential level one up. In the introduction video to this series, we visited the great need for such leadership succession in the light of pandemic-induced landscape with ramifications that persist even until today. We also examined and visited the three scenarios of not having a candidate, of building a long-term leadership development, and of developing a potential candidate within the next 1 to 2 years. And in the light of this third scenario, I would like to introduce 4 C's of what to look out for in helping a leader succeed. The first C is the one that surrounds all the others because it is the environment for the rest. The first C is the principle of the campus. Long before you consider moving the potential one level up into leadership, you need to create a campus space for learning, trying, and growing. Jesus always called his disciples into followership for learning, trying, and growing before he appointed them. For his 12 apostles, there were 2 appointments, being called apostles, and then later when he breathed the Spirit into them. And all through those years, it was a campus, a place of learning, growing, and trying. Similarly, it is beneficial to create such a space for the potentials, if possible, to have even more than one potential, long before considering an official appointment. How can we do this? Now, several possible strategies would be placing candidates into a core team to assist in a new level of leadership, seconding candidates into the senior pastor's office to helm senior pastor level projects while under guidance, bringing candidates in through a lateral appointment, for example, as an interim or an acting leader. Now, these platforms are examples of the campus, and they are important for training of the potential to take place. What are some elements that lend to a good campus? Firstly, a good campus gives the candidate authority to act one level higher without yet the office. This allows the candidate to fully operate projects or ministries on the level of the aspired office to practice the muscle and skill and character while still under training. A created vehicle like the senior pastor's office allows the church to recognize the candidate as operating on behalf of the senior pastor and lend the candidate respect and empowerment rather than just looking down on them. In the Methodist Church, the system of pastoral developments enters the candidate as a member on trial. In this 2-year phase, the candidate is not officially a minister, but is given a pastoral office and addressed as pastor. And this leads members to look to him or her as a pastoral leader and give that respect and authority for them to fulfill their pastoral duties. Secondly, a good campus provides a 360-degree observation. There are many tools for such an observation in the market, but essentially the concept is that the candidate is observed by those working with the candidate on the upper, the peer, and the lower levels. This means that the candidate's supervisors, co-workers, and subordinates all give their feedback. A good campus solicits feedback from this 360 sphere to draw insight to the style of how the candidate works with teams around. And this is especially important for us to have insights for the later C's in leadership development. Thirdly, a good campus should provide the candidate a mentor for ministry and holistic life development. Such a precious level of leadership development should see the investment by the church of a competent mentor to guide the candidate. Times of feedback, sharing, support will help the candidate know that he or she is a son or daughter of the house, rather than just a worker to be used. We raise our children as parents. How much too a spiritual son or daughter who will one day be a spiritual father or mother of the house should we invest in them? Care for the candidate's family and holistic life may help to put the candidate's family in a stronger position for ministry. After all, when God calls, the family is inevitably called to support and sacrifice for the candidate. It would be great for the family to be prepared together with the candidate. Finally, a good campus requires time. Time sufficient for mentoring, observation, practice, and the other C's of succession development to happen. It is said that when God grows a mushroom, he takes 6 months. But when God grows an oak tree, he takes 60 years. In truth, the preparation of the candidate as a person began long before the campus. But in the final 1 or 2 years before going one level up for an important appointment, the preparation in that last phase should be intentional and well-paced. Rushed jobs and fast tracks sometimes may compromise the growth and development of the candidate. Many a time when I pray for young leaders, I would receive a prophetic vision of the person in a school or in a game being coached. Now, though they may be going through a difficult time, the word I release for them is that God is preparing you. God is training you. God wants to know that he can rely on you for the smaller things in order to release you for the bigger things. So stay faithful, endure the course, finish this race. Indeed, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. Whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. So if you have not been trustworthy in handling worldly wealth, who will trust you with true riches? If you have raced with men on foot and they have worn you out, how can you compete with horses? If you stumble in safe country, how will you manage in the thickets by the Jordan? Being shaped in the campus will allow the other C's of leadership succession to be developed. May God open the right platforms and environment to create a campus for your leadership succession.